Is your inflatable hot tub plug getting hot to the touch? Our lazy spark plug melted and has damaged the socket too. Obviously this presents a fire risk, especially if, like us, your lazy spark plug is in a wooden building. Based on a little research, this seems to be in the top common hot tub problems, especially common problems with inflatable spas. So for this lazy spa tutorial, I'm showing you a plug replacement on my Best Way Spa. You can buy a Best Way Spa plug replacement as a spare, and I'll show you how to fit the RCD end shortly. But I've bought some cable and a heavy duty plug unit to make my own up because I want to extend the power cable on my spa. Anyway, enough waffle, let's get this inflatable hot tub plug replacement underway. We'll start by fitting the new plug to the new piece of flex. But don't click off to the next chapter thinking that I already know how to fit a plug. Watch this section, I'll bet there's something in it that you didn't know. All UK plugs do come with the instructions on a small piece of card which show you which colours go to which terminals, and also usually give you an indication of how long you should cut each coloured wire to. But don't lay the wire on top thinking that the scale is 1:1 and that's how long to cut them, because it's not. The first step is to strip back a sufficient length of the outer sheath. I'm going to strip back a good couple of inches here, which gives me plenty to work with. Now with this rubber cable, you almost certainly won't be able to use one of those ratchet type strippers because the rubber is too strong. So you will need to very carefully do it with a knife. Fold the cable over and very gently nick the side that's been stretched and extend the nick at each end. As soon as you see any of the coloured core showing through, be sure to avoid the core with the end of your blade and only cut the rubber. Move round a bit at a time until you've cut sufficient off that you can pull the outer sheath away. Tools wise, you'll need a number 2 Phillips usually to undo the main screw, a number 1 Phillips or possibly a flat to do the cable grip, and usually a flat screwdriver, 4mm is probably best, to do each terminal. Make sure you can freely undo each terminal before you start. And if, like on this plug, the pins are separated from the main body, the two with the black moulding around the brass are live and neutral, the one without is earth. I usually only undo one screw completely on the cable grip. The cable grip can usually go either way up. Fit it that way up in the plug if you're using a fairly thin cable, and that way if you're using a fairly thick cable, which we are today. Just put the screw in far enough to hold the cable grip in position and move it out of the way that side. Bring your cable into position such that when you pull the cable grip over, it will grip on the sheath. I like to try and orient it so that the blue is on the left side and the brown is on the right, and the green and yellow can go up to the earth quite easily. With a suitable pair of wire cutters, hold each conductor into place so that you can cut the conductor to an appropriate length. And remove your flex back out of the plug. Again, with suitable wire strippers, remove 5 to 6mm of the insulation. Now this is the bit that most people don't know, and even a lot of electricians don't seem to know this. Twist the wires around, make sure that there are no stray strands, and fit an appropriate size of ferrule over the bare wire. And if you've got access to some, use ferrule crimping pliers to crimp it into position. If you haven't got ferrule crimping pliers, use some fine nose pliers, place the ferrule on and just give it a little squeeze to hold it into place. Once you've done that with all 3 wires, you'll probably find that your ferrules are a little longer than the bare wire that you need. So again, with a good quality wire cutter, snip them down to the length that you need, which in this case is about 5mm. The reason for using ferrules is that if you just put the bare fine wires underneath the screw terminal, the screw simply works its way into the fine wires and spreads the fine wires, and you actually don't get a proper connection which can carry high current. So this is especially important in high current applications such as the spa. Not only that, but it would actually be against the wiring regulations, because the wiring regulations require fine wires to be treated, but the regulations do also forbid the use of tinning them with solder, because solder splits under the screw. Now go ahead and fit your terminals to the wires. The one with the fuse clamp goes to brown, which is the live. Push the ferrule end in until the insulation just meets the end of the hole. You should find that you've got a little bit of the ferrule sticking out the other end. Hold it however you feel best doing it, and just nip the screw down gently at this stage. The other pin with the black on it is the neutral, which is blue. Do the same again with that one. And finally the earth. Get the side of the body that takes the pins. I always do the neutral first, but there's no rule that says that that's the way it has to be done. Position the live and drop the earth in, and the fuse. Holding the sheath in position with your thumb, you can now tighten the terminals down on the wire ferrules nice and tight. Position your sheath so it's under the cord grip and put the other screw in, and tighten down the cord grip so it's got good grip on the flex, but on the sheath, not on the conductors. Make sure your wires are positioned and the top should go straight on. Tighten that down with your number 2 Phillips, reasonably hand tight. The plug is now done. To remove the plug and cable assembly from the RCD, first undo these 2 screws with your number 1 Phillips and lift away the cover to expose the wires. And with your number 2 Phillips, undo the cable grip and the 3 wire terminals. Just about 3 or 4 turns, enough to get the wires out from underneath the terminal screws. You can simply pull the flex out through the gland. Before you prepare your cable end, just make sure that your flex fits through the gland okay, and that the gland grips it and will provide a waterproof seal, and that the sheath isn't smaller than the hole in the gland. Prepare your cable end in the same way you did previously. Cut the conductors to length using the old piece of flex as your pattern, and this time strip a full 10mm of insulation off each conductor. Make double sure that you've not got any stray strands, and put your ferrule on in exactly the same way as you did before, only this time we won't be cutting the ferrule short. Straighten the wires out, push them through the grommet. Use a screwdriver to lift slightly so that it goes in easier, and put your cable grip back on, again making sure to grip the sheath. You will find that the 3 terminals are marked live, neutral and earth. I find this bit easier to do with a pair of fine nose pliers. Put each conductor under the terminal grip plate and tighten the screw down. Plenty hand tight to make sure that we've got a really good contact along the length of the ferrule. And just in case you're wondering why, despite the fact that the terminals are in a straight line, that we made the earth conductor longer, that's because should the cable ever get pulled from this end, and it should pull the conductors out of the terminals, it will pull the live and the neutral conductors out first, leaving the earth connected, and that will pull out last, thus maintaining earth conductor safety until the very last moment. Make sure the terminals are all tight so that we've got excellent electrical contact, and return your cover to position and nip the screws down. Just nip them down tight. No need to go mad with these. You could also use this method to extend your cable so that you can pass the cable through a wall and plug in inside your house, instead of having to fit an expensive outdoor socket. If you got value from this video, please don't forget to like it down below, and I shall see you next time.